Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. You?
I'm good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Ayele Foley.
Mm-hmm.
I studied at the University of Ghana.
Mm.
I studied sociology.
Mm.
Currently, I'm studying social policy studies at the University of Ghana.
Mm.
I work at an NGO. I'm the program and monitoring, evaluation, and learning officer for my company.
Okay. So what do you do exactly in that role?
So my organization mostly focuses on improving the literacy outcomes of students in marginalized and underserved communities in Ghana. So in my role, we normally come up with interventions that suit the needs and wants of the communities. So say after taking some assessments, if teachers need teacher training workshops, we hold teacher training workshops. If they need some sort of revitalization at the community level, we hold some sort of seminars with the parents, community leaders. Those are some other things we do in my organization.
All right, that's good. So today we are talking about educational policies, especially Ghanaian educational policies, and the effectiveness of it or lack thereof in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So since that's your field, can you tell us a little bit about the Ghanaian educational policies?
I would say we've come a long way. There have been some challenges, but generally, I think with a little bit of more work, there's more room for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of policies do we have in our educational system currently?
One would say the SHS policy is one. I mean, some people don't like it, some do. From my perspective, I think it aligns with the SDG, which is to provide quality and education for all. So
education for all, but the quality.
We are moving forward. So let's start with education for all.
All right.
So we had there had been a lot of complaints about students, especially in rural areas, not having the opportunity to go to the senior secondary school.
Yeah.
Maybe because they don't have secondary schools in their area. Maybe because parents don't have the financial backing to take them to top senior high schools in the country. So the free SHS has in some way opened the door and given access to students from some of these areas to be admitted into the school. So that's one positive aspect that we can look at.
Of course.
As for the quality of education, I think we are moving towards that lane very soon. Very soon.
How soon is very soon?
Very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the field. If you say very soon.
I mean, the free SHS was implemented in when? I think 2015, 2017.
Yeah, exactly. When the Akufo-Addo government came into power, that's when they started implementing.
It's been a few years now.
Yeah, I mean, we can have an assessment on a few years. I think it's almost like 8 years now. We can have an assessment and see people have passed through that system. How many? Let's say 2 batches.
Yeah,
have passed.
You say so, yeah.
2. Is it 3 or 4 years they're doing?
Sorry.
Are they doing 3 years or 4 years in senior high school?
4 years.
4 years. So 2 batches. Let's say 2 batches.
Yeah.
So we can have a case study on the 2 batches, and what's the quality of education based. We can do the numbers game and the quality game, and we sift out and see which ones.
There've been some research on that.
Yeah.
Mostly from international organizations. I know Cambridge University Real Center has some research on it, on the effectiveness of free SHS in Ghana. They shared their findings with the government of Ghana. I don't know what kind of adjustments. Yes, it's available online. I can share the link with you later on.
I'll do that.
Associate for Change partnered with Real Center Cambridge to do that assessment. So I don't know whether the government has taken those findings.
Have you read it?
I was actually part of the team for the first half of it.
What was the outcome of that?
Generally, I would say from the perspective of parents, it's a good initiative.
I mean, there's kids get to go to school and all that.
Yes. However, others feel like it has kind of forced every youth to be forced into the educational system, whereby some could have moved through the lane of vocation, getting acquired skills, being ready for the job market. So, I mean, it's...
Would you say it's quantity over quality at this point?
I would say it's quantity over quality. Yeah.
And that's my problem, because we are educating the next generation to be useful.
Yeah.
And we are not doing that. So, as you said, it's still like a work in progress,
it's
right?
It's a shaky ground.
So do you reckon they're going to take that into consideration? And with these things, when they happen, when you do your researches, does it transcend to the other administrations where you've done a research for, like, let's say, the effectiveness of, let's say, students in the country, SHS and whatnot? You give it to, because you're currently working for, let's say, under this administration. Does it transcend to the next administration?
Always. The point is to always share those findings with the government of Ghana.
So regardless,
and it's up to them whether they put what we found into effect, whether they are able to translate into tangible goals. So we always share our findings with them.
What happens? What's the?
We normally have some sort of workshop, invite all these ministers, the GES from Ministry of Education, and then share our findings with them. It's sometimes a 2-day workshop with them just to share our findings. And there are a lot of questions. Some don't believe the data. Yes, okay. Because what they feel may be happening is not actually what is happening on the ground. But
feelings are different.
I know. But then they are looking at it from their perspective of, say, this is something they have carried. No one wants to hear that what they've put in place is not working out well for them.
Their egos
yes,
are hurt.
No one wants to hear that. But then this is an independent body doing that kind of investigation. So we have no biases on that perspective.
Are you being outsourced, or you do it is this something that the government outsources you?
No.
You just
no funds from the government. So we usually work with universities from outside of the country or with international organizations, or usually on our own. So sometimes we partner with UNICEF, sometimes we partner with other universities outside of the country.
Okay, that's interesting. And sometimes it's not being taken, the information. Yes. You don't get friendly
feedback from them. No, some are very positive about it. Some of the time. The Minister of Education, he seems to be very open to new ideas. So it's always eye-opening for him to hear some of these findings. He's very open to implementing some of these westernized policies into the Ghanaian system. Because our education system seems to be changing day by day, because we keep on taking some of these policies from Western countries and not contextualizing it into
I was even about to
say
system.
That. So they are far away from they are developed countries.
Yeah.
Ghana is a little bit behind. So where they were 50 years ago, that's not where we are currently. Exactly. So whatever they may be implementing now will not necessarily fit our context.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way. Their ideas are good. It would work for us if we were at where they were right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So you made mention about the fact that you guys do the findings and you give it to So the next stage should be implementation, or
they may also want to conduct their own evaluation.
Well, yeah, of course.
Which
takes how long to finish?
I know. That's the issue.
So the delay is, okay, you've done this. Okay, let me go and do my research and come. And do you guys follow up in that sense, where when you give the information or the findings, do you follow up to see whether it's being implemented or they've taken on your advice? And
there's so much we can do, especially with the Ghana government. If they say they will move, you can't move.
You can't move, right?
Yeah. So
it makes your job difficult, isn't it?
Yes, very difficult. However, if you partner with really big international organizations like the UNICEF,
they have the move. Yeah, they have the power to do that.
Then the government is a little bit in a tight corner. So then if they want some funding from this organization, then they have to move accordingly.
Why does it feel as if it feels as if they feel you're competing with them or you're trying to put them down in that sense? Like, yeah, I do understand it to a bit. I've come to your place and I'm telling you that what you're doing is wrong. I feel a little bit like, who the hell you think you are in that sense?
Yeah.
But if it's for the betterment of the country and you do your research and you realize, okay, this is a legit research based on a number of let's say data found on the field. You know, you do all that and you find a way to implement that for the betterment of our education system, I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ghana we did. I keep on saying that. Anyway.
It will be better.
Yeah. But so we talked about the free SHS policy.
Yeah.
Right? Do we have any policies when it comes to the curriculums and the things they study in school? You know, has it changed over time? Because
yes,
I'm sure what we're learning back then is not what are they still learning what we're learning?
It's changed. Yeah. It's changed a couple of times. And the issue with the curriculum always changing is that teachers or schools don't have the resources to back those changes in the curriculum.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, when the curriculum changed, for like one whole year, schools didn't have any of their teaching resources to implement the curriculum change.
What year was this?
I think that was probably 2020.
Oh, 4 years ago.
2020. Currently, teachers still don't have some of the resources. Fortunately for us, we had USA Learning coming in, which implemented their interventions for like a 7-year period.
Was it lack of funding or is this?
They always, I'd say it's lack of funding. Yeah. But then why make that change if you are not ready to provide resources to the schools? Then
so
that's always my question. Yes.
I just saw that they just built what do you call it, a STEM school.
Yeah.
And I see you can build on infrastructures. You can, but if there's no
resources are not available, how do they move forward?
Yeah, there's no
kids didn't have textbooks. Teachers didn't have teaching and learning materials in the school. Some schools just have one textbook. That's for the use of the teacher.
Wow.
So either he wrote the notes on the board.
And they copy it.
Yes. Can you imagine? Sometimes
we are here sharing laptops, aren't we? Like
sometimes the head teacher has to buy that one textbook for the teacher to use in the teaching process in the classroom.
Yeah. You heard about the laptop thing where the department started sharing laptops.
Yeah.
Priorities are wrong, huh?
No comment on that.
I understand. But anyway, so talking about that, right, in terms of the lack of material that comes with changing of curriculum and resources, right? How bad has it affected us in terms of the educational quality we have for the past, let's say, let me use 10 years in terms of the people we're producing? Because all of them go write the WASI or the, you know, and so that means we have a lot of dropouts based on the fact that it was because of the inadequate resources.
Yes.
Or the, I don't want to be harsh by saying responsible leadership, right? But close to that.
Yeah.
Where because of these people who are not necessarily thinking about the long-term goal of the future of the Ghanaian people, we have a lot of people who are dropping out of schools based on, I wouldn't say drop because we now have free SHS, so dropping out is like...
There's still dropout rates even with the free SHS.
Why is that?
Well, free SHS for all is good led to an influx of students entering the senior higher education.
Yeah, that's the part too.
So schools already have this
limited
number they could take in for a particular year. But then we had so many people going into this. They
started the, what did you say, track system?
Track system, yes. Yeah. So some students drop out. There was not enough resources to cater for the influx of the students in the schools as well. Some just only went to school because their parents said they should go, so they also dropped out.
Exactly.
There are a number of reasons why the dropout rates has either increased or is still the same.
It's always fascinating when we talk about this, right? Because I think I did one last time, talked about Daniel Dodo with the educational thing.
I saw that.
Where we all agreed that the free SHI was a laudable idea, where at least it's going to push our literacy rate up in that sense. But the implementation was so poorly done that instead of it being a laudable idea that will actually push something up, it became a negative thing at the end of the day. And there's not been any forced solution or anything you can tell, okay, maybe it's, like increase infrastructure, increase the type of, what do you call it? The monies they give to schools.
Yeah.
Nothing?
I think that with every policy that we implement, there has to be some sort of research before we go full force.
Yeah.
The free SHS started with some phases. So they started with the current batch of students going in. So they didn't charge them for the current, when they went in for the first term. And then after a couple of years, they just open it up to all.
Yeah.
I don't know how much investigation they did.
The transition was so
very short.
It was so short, and
I think they were just eager.
Yeah, it was a political
thing.
They
saw some of the results coming in. I mean, very positive because it's free education.
That was one thing that helped the MPP win.
Yeah.
And
win for a second term.
Exactly. Yeah. They used it for 2 terms. That's wow. They used it for 2 terms and they won. And it's a laudable idea.
Oh yeah.
But
this is not taken away from the fact that we should be
doing it right. It's disappointing to see all these things happening, right? Because the country has now become a field
I don't know how many of them actually go on the ground and
do
see
the
what's
research.
happening.
I don't think anybody know. Like if you leave Accra and you go, I know you've been outside Accra and everything, seen what's literally going on ground.
It's terrible in some places.
Yeah, the level of education people are having.
Yeah,
it's so poor.
Even in Accra, especially in government schools.
Well, yeah, of course.
There are some difficulties with literacy.
It's like, what are we doing? Like, Charlie, where are we going?
Even in Accra.
It's a problem that needs to be it has to be high priority.
Yeah.
We need to stop politicizing it.
I don't think we can overcome that as a country.
No, we should. We should.
I mean, it will be good. It will be for the betterment of everyone, but then
there has to be a continuity and at least don't touch education. Don't touch education.
Everybody. I mean, education is one of the most vital points. So everyone wants to do something.
Of the economy.
Yes, everyone. You are training the next generation.
Yeah. That's the point. That's the whole point of it. And these people are the ones who are going to put the country on another level, right? And you're creating weak fundamentals, right? And they get to a position where they're either not qualified or not competent enough to be in that field, and we keep on you wonder why we are not going anywhere. And we realize that fundamentals are we can't compete on an international. We can't do that.
No.
That even brings me back to what do you call it? Is it yearly exams or final exams? So WASI and WASI, BC, and what do you think about that? Should it be changed?
Well,
because
the results that come in yearly, some are very terrible.
Very terrible.
Some are very terrible. So what do you think would happen if we weren't doing this? If we weren't doing that then?
Oh man, it's just my problem is
we also have standardized tests for different regions, regions and districts. Yeah. It comes in from the GS. I don't know the timeline they use to implement this.
Yeah,
but they normally do it based on just literacy and sometimes numeracy, and the results in some of the regions. Wow.
I know, but we don't hear that. You don't see it anywhere, right?
It's when you work in the educational system, that's when you find out some of these things. If you don't, you usually know the general ones the BC, normal final examinations.
Yeah, what I find worrisome about these is the fact that clearly when you fail one, you don't move on. Your educational, let me, for lack of career, is over.
Yeah.
From the BC and from the WASI and everything, there's no. You can rewrite and everything, but it's we need to have a system where we are testing people based on their learning capabilities and what everybody's different in that sense. People that can be more technical, as you said, people read differently. I don't even think we have a system where we can tell that someone is dyslexic or not.
No.
You get me?
Okay, we do have
in our government systems. Come on now.
Not that particularly, but they recently implemented differentiated learning.
Oh.
So with that, schools are able to grade their students, irrespective of the class level they are, to whether they are literate, non-literate, I don't know the technical terms, but then they're able to grade them accordingly and put them in the class, like in a particular group, and then do some sort of remediation for them.
That's good.
That doesn't identify whether a child is dyslexic or not.
It's just
but then it grades them, yes.
Yeah, yes. But because in hindsight, you think about some of the people you went to school with and how the teachers are treating them and everything. Yeah. These people are very confused. They don't know what they don't
know what
they're like.
Saying.
Your head die. You're dumb and all that.
Ghana system is implementing inclusiveness, so I don't know how that takes into account
because I find
people with those kinds of difficulties.
Again, I find it worrisome because
also not to argue for repetition, but then our educational system does not allow for schools to repeat a child if they fail a class.
Really?
Yes, we've stopped that.
We stop repetition.
Yeah, so moving through primary all the way to.
So even if you're failing, you're still moving
through it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we stopped that.
Since when?
We stopped that a long time ago.
Huh?
Yes, we have.
So they go all the way. So they are setting them to feel like
you write your BC, you don't pass. You have free SHS. So if you get that,
wait, you still go to.
We have free SHS. So if you get 36 and then a school picks you, that's it. You go.
Huh?
You continue.
Why?
But then surely the university doesn't. That would be very difficult. So that's how come people drop out.
Yeah, they say there's no point in like. I don't see. We don't. Again, talking about you made mention about technical schools and everything. Yes. I think we need to make that also a priority. In that sense,
there's actually a department at the Ghana Educational Service, TVET. So they focus on training youth vocational skills, trying to get them ready for the job market. It's been going on well. It's not really, I don't know. Usually people who are in the educational system know about this program, but then yes, they have an office at the Ghana Educational Service office.
And I know that anyway, like I don't know much about the educational system in the US, but I know that when you fill your classes and everything, on vacation, you have to go for summer schools and everything to be able to catch up.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that.
No.
So if you feel it, the only problem you have is your parents who are going to be like, you feel, are your parents, you're like, you feel your papers.
So fortunately for Ghana, we have the help of NGOs. So NGOs.
Like yours, right?
Yes. NGOs come in and kind of help substitute for some of the failings of the Ghana educational system. So my organization like this, we have reading clubs. So when kids go on vacation, they have like a month. They have a month of vacation. Say they have 1 month of vacation.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The first week, they are off school. They are free to roam about. But then for the next 3 weeks, they come back to school for reading club.
Which
reading club?
Which schools are you talking about?
So we work in the Western region and the Eastern region. So some of the schools there.
The students must hate you guys.
Oh, no, they actually love it.
Really?
Yes.
That's good.
We've provided them with storybooks.
So
they have patrons. We have teachers.
So it's not more like learners. It's more like not learning in that sense, but it's like
they are
video
in their
learning.
own environment. Yes. So the clubs are led by student leaders.
So it's very different. Not like
the patron is only there to supervise. Yes, and make sure that kids are safe because it's vacation and parents want to know where their kids are. So we have some of these reading club activities in the school itself. Yes. So we've provided them with very good books. We have some UK Book Aid supplying our organization with books. So from primary 1 to sometimes senior high schools, we've provided them with some of the books from UK Book Aid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, okay.
So that is one activity. that seems to be very, very beneficial for these kids. Because they go on vacation for 4 months, they come back, they don't remember how to speak English.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I mean you don't get to practice, so I do understand
exactly.
that.
So then comes in motivation by the parents to ensure their kids are reading at home also.
Yeah.
So we allow them to borrow some of these books home.
That's nice.
And the parents have to ensure that they take time
to do that.
Yes, to read these books. So I mean, it's multiple things coming into place to make sure that their literacy levels improves overall. It's not just one thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, from your perspective or opinion, what's the ideal educational, let's say, chronology, or let's say timeline, right? From the kindergarten to university, where you know that when students, it has to be a general because everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
When they follow these types of, let's say, systems, you get to a place where you've produced actually a proper educated person that can be useful to the society. Let's say from kindergarten, what kind of studies they're supposed to go through to bring up their brain. You come to the primary, senior high, and university.
Yeah.
All these are developmental points
for every child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's the ideal one that you think every child should pass through? Give us your opinion on that.
There's no ideal way.
Of course, there's no ideal way.
There's no ideal way. So I don't know if I can actually comment on that.
Well, give me in the point where, let's say, let's do a comparative analysis, right?
Sure.
And the Ghanaian system. What would you change?
I think one of the points for reform for kids is usually from age 11 to 15. So what class would you be invited? So say, let's
11, what are you, class 4, class 5?
Class 4, say class 4. So that's a window of opportunity to actually implement whatever they've learned from kindergarten to P3 by now.
Yeah.
It's a transition stage for these kids. So whatever change you want to make at that point has to be made from P4.
Of course, yeah.
Because as they move upwards, it's very difficult to change what they've learned.
So that means you have to point. Okay.
That's why right now in Ghana's educational system, we use local language from P1 to P3. And from P4 to P5, to P6 is usually English. Because we know that it's a transition stage for these kids. So with this, they take into account that the kid is at home every day, very young child. So the local language is their first language.
Yeah.
So they are very comfortable with that. So in school, teachers using the local language, they're able to catch up very quickly.
Yeah.
Then from P4, they transition to the English language.
How is that? Do you see the momentum slowing down because English just gets introduced, or it's the continuity?
It's very easy for them to pick up the English language if you use local language from the onset. Yes.
That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, mostly in the government schools, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly. I would say, definitely mostly in the government.
Do you work with any private schools or?
No.
Are they all, do they all, of course they do, but are they religiously following the, let's say, the Ghana educational system?
Yes.
That's a very confident yes.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
You remember, if you listen, my friend was talking about, Daniel was talking about the fact that we need to change into a Cambridge educational system, right?
Oh my God, we have a long way to go before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think is a way to go?
It's plausible.
Yeah.
It's plausible. Yeah.
Do you think it will help us in that
sense? It will
sense?
definitely.
But when you say a long way, how long do we have?
Oh my God, I can't say.
You're the one on ground, so what do you think?
Say.
Is it money? Is it infrastructure? Is it
it's money,
policy?
It's infrastructure, it's policy, it's resources, it's commitment from teachers, it's commitment from the government.
So
it's commitment from students. It's everything.
Everything has to change.
Yes, it's everything.
It's everything. 50 years? I think it should be less than that. I think maybe 20 years.
I would even say probably more than that.
Oh, come on now.
I mean, if you have people in place who seem to want things for their own betterment, and they've been grandfathered into the system, you can move up from there.
So it's a cultural thing.
Yes.
Saying. So we need to clear all of
one of the mistakes we did is take out parents from the educational system. Parents are in the educational system, but then one way that they used to show their commitment was paying their PTA dues. They don't pay their PTA dues anymore.
They've taken it out.
Yes, the government has taken it out. So now parents, they don't come to the school to check on their kids. There's no sort of accountability. Because parents were paying PTA dues, they kind of held the teachers accountable for their actions. But then now...
Nothing. I understand. Because, there's no active stakeholders involved in decision making.
No.
That's not good, huh?
I think that was...
wait, hold on. Parents are not involved in the decision making of how better our education system should be. Is that what you're saying?
They are. But then when they were paying their PTA dues, they had active voices.
So they were more outspoken.
Very outspoken. Now they just come to PTA meetings and argue with head teachers and teachers, and then go back to their respective homes without any real solution being made. Yeah. It's
so
unfortunate.
50 years or more.
You have hope.
Oh, you've given up. You.
No, I haven't. I have no way of giving up. I'm in the educational system. Oh, I have no way of giving up. But then I think that it will take more from everyone.
You sound tired.
I
Oh God.
I mean, you see, Kenya, for instance, they are doing free education in their country. Yeah. It's a country of 55 million people.
Yeah, more than us, of course.
And they've implemented technology into their educational system seamlessly. Ghana seems to be struggling.
Why is that? That's the question.
We would say funds. We always say funds with everything.
Oh, we have funds. We just misappropriate the funds. We always say,
exactly.
Man. Is it a leadership problem or is it a cultural problem?
It always starts from the top. I don't think it's one-dimensional. I think there's a cultural issue, there's a leadership issue. Yes.
I think we are the reflections of the people we put up there. You understand? That's how I see. Like you can't be, we decide who goes up there. We are the reflections of the people we see up there. And from that point of view, I can say it's more like a cultural thing where we need to intentionally change it, where we know that, okay, the other generation is gone. We accept it. We strategically phase them out and put like people in the new generation in and intentionally change the working culture or whatever culture it is that has put us where we are.
Does everyone understand that though?
You make them understand. Now, I know it's easier said than done. I'm not saying make them understand, but it has to be an intentional thing where one person says this. But I don't see that happening because people are attacking from everywhere.
Yes, every which way.
That's why, I think it should be from the top.
So
it should be from the top.
People
but
just
I see
their opinions to themselves.
If I'm predicting, maybe Ghana in the next 20 years, we might get young people who are not impressed by the barest minimum these people are giving us.
I think we're seeing that now.
There's
a lot of youth who seem to be very outspoken in some of the issues the country is facing.
I really like
very, very promising, I think.
Yeah, and I see that's why I'm saying that on the trajectory of that, for you to amass that following that it's powerful enough that nobody can ignore you. It would take like maybe 10 to 20 years in that sense.
I think it's more than that.
You think it would take more than that?
Yeah, I think it would take more than that.
I know we're fairly a young democracy in that sense, right?
Yeah.
We've been on and off for a while. If you're talking to the constant one since 1992 to now, it's fairly young, but it's still not an excuse looking at how far we've come and how stuck we are in our ways. and how unwilling we are to change it, because it's a system that benefits the few at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it happened where everybody else seems to be feeling as if they should be grateful for the few for giving them the barest thing. I was like, that is not how it's supposed to be.
No.
It's power to the people.
No.
But that social engineering was proper. They've done a number of people.
Definitely.
I read something. Someone was like, "Oh, I don't have food to eat and everything, blah blah. I'll still vote for this." I was like, "My guy."
And
are you thinking about your kids?
Education is one of the main points as to why people, after all the hardship that they've gone through, will vote the same way they've been voting for how many years now?
You're like, okay, your kid went to? Okay, cool. What was the, how good has your kid been in that sense? At least from a very individual point of view, you can assess things, especially if you've been able to benefit from a system.
Mm-hmm.
Assess things and be very. I don't think we are individualistic in that sense, right? As a people, we are very high-minded.
Yes.
In that, and we don't think for ourselves.
Like kind of thinking.
That's the reason why we are anyway. Because group identity, I understand that, but the negative sides of it are very obvious.
Yeah.
Very obvious.
Yeah.
And it comes to almost all our systems. Look at our religion, look at our politics, look at everything. The group mentality, it's a canker. It kills us.
It seems to be very difficult for us to shift ourselves from that mindset. I mean, if an individual, for instance, kind of veers off a little bit from that group thing, see how we treat that person.
Oh yeah, we are ostracized.
It's like the person is a cancer. We need to cut them off immediately.
Even if the person is right, we're like you. Why
and
who do you think you are?
How many years before we actually realize?
Who do you think you are? You think you're like, we're like, yes. Anyway, it's just education, man. That's why it has to start from a point where we educate kids enough to know what they are supposed to get.
Yeah.
You know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we know our worth. You need to know your worth. So if anybody comes and stand in front of me and telling me that today, politicians are, what do you call it? They are, what do you say? They are inaugurating boreholes, wooden bridges, toilets. Like, vote for me.
And we are very happy with that. We seem to be satisfied with those kinds of...
It's just, as Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery in that sense, Charlie, my guy.
Yeah.
We need to do better.
I mean, this seems a little bleak.
I know. I thought you were going to give me positive things about our educational system.
However, I mean, the changes are slow. They are slow.
Very slow. They're leaving us behind.
I know. But then it's gradual. It will definitely come, but then it's a little slow.
The thing is, when we get to where we think we are supposed to get, everybody has left us.
Yes. And then we have how many more years again to get to that point again, and then get to that point if we already moved on from there. So we're always kind of playing catch up with everyone else.
In the world, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's conclude this, because what's your what would be? I know you're a consultant, right? So you do your assessment, you give a feedback, and let's say you're supposed to give advice on what we should do to put our educational level on the next step.
Yeah.
What's the next thing to do?
I think before we move on to the next step, we have to solidify some of the
fundamentals
systems, that we've already put into place. So our infrastructure in the educational system in Ghana is terrible. That's one aspect we should look at. We have inadequate teachers in schools, especially in rural
Why is that?
areas.
Is it our training Is it training teachers?
Teacher training.
Is inadequate?
It's inadequate.
What kind of people are training the teachers? That's the question.
It's our educational agency. First of all, the teacher training are not enough. And mostly in rural areas, teachers don't like going to rural areas to teach.
Yeah.
I would say
the incentives are not great.
Yes, they are not great at all. Only if you're working in an area where you're being supported by an NGO, then teachers are fine.
Yeah.
But women don't like going to rural areas to teach, especially women who are married.
I understand that.
Yes, and that's very understandable. But if there were very good incentives in place, I don't think it would be a very difficult thing.
No.
I mean, a couple of years ago, in the 2000s, Ghana was implementing UTDB, Untrained Teacher Diploma in Basic Education, where they took in teachers who, individuals, not teachers, individuals who had some sort of formal education, not particularly qualifications to be a teacher, but then took them through various levels of training. So they taught them classroom management, pedagogies, and subject knowledge, content. So kind of prepared them to go into these rural areas. And one of the obligatory things they had to do was stay in those rural areas during their duration of those training, and then a couple of years after that.
Oh, okay.
So for that period of time, we had teachers in those rural areas. I don't know where that is. That program is now. But then it came up with very good results during that interim that it was being implemented.
Mine is there has to be, you mentioned we don't have a problem. Before the thing, we have a problem with equity. Or in that sense, I think the infrastructures we have in Accra should be the same infrastructures we have everywhere. If you want the certain level of quality of education.
Sure.
We can't still be here and you still have students being taught under trees and don't have chairs to sit on and everything, and you think you're going to produce what exactly?
The difficulty is that when some of these interventions come in and they go into a district or a region, they have very easy access to urban areas. It's very easy to get to schools in urban areas. Seems to take a lot of toll for them to go into the rural areas.
I'm not even talking about I'm talking about from
I'm talking about generally, even from government.
That's no excuse now. Come on now.
I know. And when these resources are provided, they sometimes sit in the district office for months.
So
for months.
Why? I know the answer, but I still.
I'm not naming names. This is just. I don't want to name a particular school, but chairs, furniture was being provided for schools to come and pick up in some of these rural areas. When we visited the office, the tables and chairs were there, just there, packed, whole rows.
So why didn't
waiting for the head teacher has to find a way of getting a car to come and pick up these the furniture from the office. And when they don't have funds for it, they sit down term after term. Books being provided by NGOs, other international NGOs. They could sit in the district office for months.
Again,
when you ask, the officers don't have money for money to buy fuel for their motorbikes or for cars to drop some of these books off. So even when we do have some of these resources, they are not being delivered to actual schools who need them.
My thing is, number one, there's no accountability.
No, definitely
there's no
not.
consequences to people's actions, and there's no plan. All these combined create a system where we are.
Yeah.
So
I would say, to conclude, we have a long way to go. We've made some strides. There's still room for growth.
Yeah, of course, there's always room for growth.
It's slow. It's very slow. I just think if we have the right leadership in place, things will move on very quickly.
Yeah, wishful thinking. I hope that's
funny enough. When NGOs come into play, they have their own agenda.
Of course.
So government is forced to, if you want this funding, this is how you go back.
Because of course they have the money to give.
Exactly. So then very quickly things seem to move on quickly. I would always use USAID Learning's project.
Yeah,
it ran for 7 to 8 years. They had a budget of about $78 million. Yes. Where all the regions in Ghana were benefited from this program. District directors came for meetings, teachers came for meetings.
So it was
yes, because they had the financial backing.
Of course.
And now they finished the program. The program ended, I think, last year. They had a very big closeout. And it has been delivered into the hands of the government. Ask me how that program is doing now.
How is
they were actually able to integrate the USA Learning program into Ghana's timetable. So schools have USA Learning periods, yes. But then ask me how that program is doing.
They just all went to like
in some regions, some districts are trying, and then it
so there's no continuity. It just stopped because the funding stopped.
Yes,
funding and the government didn't even inherit it.
Government is supposed to provide funding for the continuity of this program.
Of course, yeah.
They do, but then it's not as much as it used to be before. So things are slowed down a little bit right now. They are trying the best.
They are trying the best. Anyway.
I would say. Yeah.
There's hope for Ghana, right?
Always. Right. Always. It's not as bleak as we made it out to seem.
I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. Like, we are where we are because, anyway. Thank you for coming.
Very welcome.
Oh, my God.
Okay.